We've been mates for 10 years.
So when I knew I was screen testing with Jeremy, I texted him being like, I'm coming in.
Jumping in. Don't F this up for me.
What were the emotions that ran through your heads when you found out you'd landed the roles for the prequel? Were you intimidated? Were you excited? What was the vibe?
All of the above, wasn't it?
And more.
Yeah,
so exciting. I think it's rare to go into something that has such a enthusiastic, large fan base, and that felt like a real privilege, I think, in a way, especially once we were announced and it was out there in the world that we were making this thing. The outpouring of love and support was just so lovely, and we've always felt that way from when we started. I remember our first day on set, we sort of were in a circle and the execs welcomed us into the family, and it really does feel like that. The cast of Outlander as well have all been so supportive and lovely since the very, very beginning. So yeah, I guess it was slightly daunting in a way because Outlander's so huge.
But it was nice to have the challenge though, isn't it? Because it makes you want to live up to that and do your best. So I think, just not just speaking for us, but I think I can speak on behalf of our whole ensemble cast. It really has pushed everyone to really work hard and do the best work that they can.
I was excited because I knew I was working with you.
Yeah. I mean, I'd been sort of hounding producers and directors to see if they could get Hermione to do it. We're very lucky that she said yes. So that was.
Oh
was
no! Well, that was exciting.
And no, I mean, I wasn't too familiar with the Outlander world, so to me, it's just been incredible starting a job and then discovering, how popular and how much it means to people, which is just, normally you're just hoping that someone watches, the thing that you've been working on for the last year. So to find it's already got this existing audience is just the biggest privilege. And very, very happy.
Yeah.
So did you two already know each other? Did you do a screen test? Why were you so hell-bent on being
We've known each other for 10 years. We've been mates for 10 years.
So when I knew I was screen testing with Jeremy, I texted him being like, I'm coming in.
Jumping in. Don't F this up for me. Yeah.
The reviews have been pretty bloody good. I've got a few written down. So it's a perfect balance of new and old, an excellent, highly addictive prequel, and that they captured the magic of Outlander while still having the feeling of its own show. And I think that's pretty glowing. But from your perspective, what does it take to make a good prequel? Because it's very tricky to do a good one.
Oh, that is a good question. Yeah, because there's been so many, over the years, which some have been great and some,
I think it starts with the script. I think if the script is good and the characters are strong and well-rounded, then that's a lot of your job done for you as an actor. And the scripts are good, and they've written these characters who, they're in Outlander and they're one version of themselves in that show. But in our show, this is 30 years before that time. And so a lot of life hasn't happened to them yet. And some of the characters they're quite different. Like Murta, I think especially, is really quite different in our show. Rory, who plays him, is so fantastic. And he's got this real twinkle in his eye. It's a very different Murta to the Murta that Outlander fans know and love. But I think that's interesting to see, that character go on that journey and see how he becomes the person.
It's like the perfect blend of the paying homage to what came before, but then also something new to which can stand on itself and has unique energy as well, I think. And I think our show's done that. Yay! Fingers crossed.
Well, the reviews are pretty nice.
I think with Outlander, it captured a mood, and I think that's very difficult to put your finger on what the specific thing is. It's got to, when you do a movie or a TV show, so many different elements have to match up. You've got to have the good writing, you have the cast have to do a good job, good directing, good editing. The music's a big thing, and it's just rare, I think, for all of those things to match up.
Yeah. Yes, I think that's right. And I also think, you don't want to try and entirely replicate what was done before. I think you want to take an essence of something. Like, for instance, Outlander's actually only in Scotland at the beginning. And I feel like for Blood of My Blood, it's very Scottish-centric. So it's looking into kind of, it's taking an area of Outlander and then kind of almost going deeper into clan politics and everything else. So I think Yeah, I think I think for this prequel specifically, we've taken a time period and a location and gone in.
Yeah, and they were very keen to make it like a standalone series. And I think, we would never have, whatever it was that was the thing that everyone loved about Outlander, we're never going to just recreate that. So you've got to try and do something new, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And I think that brings me to my next question, which is how much did you use Outlander as kind of inspiration for your characters? Was it something that you viewed a little bit and then turned away from to make it your own? Or was it very much like, implemented and used for your characterizations?
I think
the first option for
first option, yeah. I think I'd watched it 6 years ago, so I revisited it and watched the first 2 seasons, but I was very keen not to try and do an impersonation of Katrina. Because I feel like in terms of audiences that's not interesting, and also we're not carbon copies of our parents, we're a mix of our 2 parents' characteristics. So we kind of discussed what we each brought to Katrina. If I think if you put our faces together you sort of get Katrina.
Well, you more than me, I think, but yeah.
Honestly, we watched the show, but I mostly watched the show not like to study Sam or anything like that, but it was just to kind of get a feel of the tone of the show, like how they did things, because each show has its own tone and its own energy. So I used the show to really find that. But right at the start, when I came on board, I talked to Matt Roberts, our showrunner, and he was quite adamant of not wanting a carbon copy of Jamie. And he said Brian is very much his own man, and Jamie's a combination of both Brian and Ellen, so he has to get these characteristics from both, so which was nice for me because it means I could have I just learned Brian as we went along. I found who he was as a person, without having to try and fit any mold. And then thankfully, because of the similarities between me and Sam anyway, there's a lot of crossovers about everything, so it just all works quite well, I think. Yeah.
And something else I wanted to ask you both about was sex and intimacy on screen, because Outlander has been praised for years for the way that it portrays sex on screen. It's not just added in as like a narrative, like as an extra thing. It's a narrative device. It displays beauty and pain and kind of power. So as actors, how do you approach intimacy on screen? What role does it play for you when you see these scripts?
Yeah, I think it's obviously it is an important part of the story because it's an important part of life. And relationships, and it aids the storytelling of these characters and their journey together, and it's taken very seriously on set. We have an intimacy coordinator, and it's a very collaborative process. We'll start by having a discussion about the scene with the intimacy coordinator, director, producers, so that everyone's on the same page and we all have the same idea of what the story that we're telling through the scene. And then we choreograph it. It's almost like a dance in some ways. It's very much, we know exactly where. Yes, it's like 1 step, 2, 3.
This is my dancing.
2, 3. Exactly what it's
like.
Star's
rocking an invisible baby. I realised that's what that might look like.
No spoilers. But yeah, we rehearse it all beforehand so that when we get there on the day, we know exactly what is required of us, and we can sort of not worry about that and focus on the performance of it and the romance of it.
And as soon as I see it in the script, I phone our AD and I say, when is this happening? What date? Because I need to know when I need to stop, when I need to start going to the gym. So yeah, it keeps me on track and being healthy.
Yeah,
being a healthy boy.
For sure, because you never know when they're going to pop up.
Yep.
I mean, this was the first job I've done a lot of nudity and lots of intimate scenes in. So I was a little nervous at the beginning, and I think, but there was such a process in place, and Jeremy and I, trust each other implicitly. So that was a good starting point. I think the first block we did it, Jamie Payne was directing, and I found it extremely helpful because he would almost give us an essence of what the scene was about. So a reason why we're doing the intimacy. So for instance, for our characters at the beginning,
Showed us a sculpture.
He showed us a sculpture, and it was about life, a sharing of life force with each other. That's the reason for the intimacy, and having that starting point, that really helped, I think, for us to choreograph and think about it, and
make it a little bit more abstract, and just always to look at what are you trying to say with this scene. Practically in terms of how you prepare. For me, the biggest decision is always you're given. You go into your trailer in the morning, and there's laid out your 10 options for intimacy underwear, which is basically a little drawstring pouch for a man. And they go from large, sort of carrier bag size, all the way down to a little coin purse. And as the male actor, you have to go, do I
sit here?
Do I take the massive one? And the costume department go, wow, he's gone for the massive one, but I walk on set and it looks like an empty bag? Or do you go for this tiny one? Costume department think that, but at least when you walk out on set, you've got a nice filled out bag. So that's really my biggest
That's how
decision.
you prepare.
That's my biggest decision of the day.
Sit there umming and ahhing.
Yeah, I do. I go, which one today?
I feel like with every single production, there's always some behind the scenes stories that happen on set. And you guys are filming in gorgeous Scotland. Do you have any funny stories that come to mind when you were filming?
Oh man, there's so many. When episode 5 comes out, that was a really good one because it involved lots of people, getting together, and whenever we have days, and you don't necessarily have to be in the same scenes, because you're filming all over the place, so you'll get a lot of, you'll see people, in the green room or whatever, who you don't normally see, and those days when everybody's on set, it's quite conducive to shenanigans and such. There's a few scenes in episode 5 which when I see, I know exactly, like, I know I couldn't be looking at Harriet because I was having the giggles, and
that wasn't my fault, by the way. That was Rory.
It was Rory's fault.
That was Rory.
Mm-hmm. It's always Rory's fault, actually. Either him or Jeremy, one of the two.
That is actually true.
Mm-hmm. They're the mischief people on set.
They are. But we love them for it.
Okay, noted. Rory's fault always.
Yes, you can quote me on that one.
Finally, I have to ask you. So I know that the second season is already being filmed, is already underway. Is there anything you can tell me about it? Like a little detail, just a little something to keep me going.
I would go on, you say.
I was going to say, I went in, before I'd seen the scripts for season 2, I went in for a costume fitting and I saw the costumes and just went, how is that going to fit in to my character? So mine goes on a real wild trip. Yeah.
I was just going to say, where we finished in season 1, things are not quite what they seem. That's what I'll say. It ends on a cliffhanger, season 1, and you'll think we're going somewhere, but we're not.
We're not.
Once we come back to season 2.
You guys just gave me the best little hints for the next season. I've never had anyone give such good little teasers before. That was incredible.
Oh, good.
Well, we'll see what the fan theories come out after that, but good luck, because I don't think you're going to get them.